Occasionally, I teach lessons on how we got the Bible. And a lot of people are curious about how the Bible was put together and if there are reasons for which we can trust the process. And one of the things that I want to communicate right off the bat is that there are several stages in the process, and that at every stage, God puts his seal of assurance and authenticity on the stage by keeping things open and transparent, above board, with built-in quality control measures, built-in measures for verification of the authenticity of the process. That's true, again, at every stage of the process, from the time that God commissions apostles and prophets to speak his word on his behalf and gives them the wherewithal to do so, to the time that those messages are actually put down in writing, when they begin to be collected, when they begin to be formed in larger repositories as collections of individual books or documents that we would know as the books of the Bible, to the time that the original documents were copied, and you have copies of those originals later on. But the thing that I like to communicate again is that there are reasons for high degree of confidence at every stage of the process that you have built-in quality control measures and verification standards, so that God is not just saying, okay, this is my word, and you've got to trust it on faith without any evidence whatsoever. But there's rock solid evidence in which he stoops at our level as human beings. And there's a principle in the Bible of multiple eyewitnesses verifying any factual data, that at the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every word would be established. And so you have this built-in eyewitness testimony, these built-in quality controls, built-in verification standards. For example, when a king was commissioned to copy the Word of God in the Old Testament among the Israelites, Deuteronomy 17 says that those copies had to be approved by the Levitical priest. And so you would have checks and balances, that he wasn't just going to copy an unverified copy of the Scriptures, but you have, again, built-in checks and balances. You have miracles and predictive prophecies vindicating the supernatural origin of messages that really do come from God versus messages of counterfeit prophets who were not commissioned by God. So it wasn't just a claim, I come from God and this is God's message. Those messages had to be vindicated and, again, authenticated by a supernatural sign from God. You have oftentimes a false prophet going up against a true prophet in the pages of the Bible. Jeremiah 28 is an example of that. And Hananiah, the false prophet, says that within 2 years, those things that had been taken by Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians would be returned to Jerusalem and Judah. And Jeremiah, the true prophet of God, says, no, that's not the case. And you've prophesied falsely, and within a year, you're going to die. So you have 2 prophecies in competition with each other. And the truth of the matter is, 2 months after Jeremiah makes his prediction, Hananiah dies, which is why we have a book of Jeremiah in the Old Testament and not a book of Hananiah in the Old Testament. And so again, you have this cross-checking, checks and balances, modes of quality control or verification that exist at every stage of the process. Even when vast numbers of people could not read, and various books of the Bible were in print. When you get beyond the New Testament, for example, and into the early centuries, in the 5th century, there was a situation where late in the 4th century, you have Jerome, the translator, translating the original Hebrew and Greek documents of the Old and New Testaments into Latin, and it becomes the Latin Vulgate version. But it's not the ancient Latin version that the churches up to that point had used during the first 3 centuries of Christianity. And so Augustine, the theologian, writes a letter to Jerome, and in the letter he cites that there is a one word difference in Jerome's Latin translation of Jonah chapter 4 verse 6 that differed from the Latin version that these folks were used to hearing. And one reader would read the book of Jonah in church, and you'd have all these hearers that would continually listen over and over and over again, and they knew the book of Jonah so well that one word difference in the New Vulgate translation created a stir in the congregation. It caused an uproar because they were so familiar with the previous Latin version that this new translation of the Hebrew caused this great conflict in the congregation. Again, another quality control measure, which gives us confidence that down through the ages, the Bible was not changed wholesale, that the people of God knew the text so well that even a one-word change in a translation would cause an uproar. And so we can have great degrees of confidence that the Bible has not continually evolved down through the centuries, that what was originally presented to the people of God is what we have in our present Bibles and the translations of the original text. So much more that we could say about that, but that's all I'll say for today. Visit us at SantaClaraChurchofChrist.com, and we have more for you there.